The ocean hides creatures stranger than anything science fiction could invent. Some can punch like a bullet. Some can reverse their own aging. Some are quietly rewriting what we know about the human body. Let's dive in and meet them. Immortal jellyfish. Somewhere in the world's oceans drifts a creature that may have unlocked the secret to cheating death. The immortal jellyfish is barely the size of a fingernail, transparent with a small bell-shaped body and thin trailing tentacles. Nothing about its appearance suggests anything extraordinary. But when this jellyfish is injured, sick, or starving, it does something no other known animal can do. Instead of dying, its cells begin to transform backward, reverting from a mature adult back into a juvenile polyp, essentially restarting its entire life cycle from scratch. In theory, it can repeat this process indefinitely, making it biologically immortal. Scientists studying this reversal are hoping to understand the genetic switches that control aging itself, research that could one day influence how humans understand cellular regeneration and age-related disease. In the quiet depths of the sea, this tiny ghost-like jellyfish may be holding one of biology's biggest secrets, the blueprint for turning back time. Mantis shrimp. Imagine a creature so fast it can shatter aquarium glass with a single strike. The mantis shrimp is a small, armored predator, rarely longer than a human hand, with a body striped in electric blues, greens, and oranges like something painted for a carnival. But hidden inside its front limbs is one of the fastest weapons in nature. Its club-like appendages snap forward at over 50 miles per hour, accelerating faster than a bullet leaving a gun. The strike is so violent it boils the surrounding water for a fraction of a second, creating a flash of light and a shockwave that can stun prey before the club even makes contact. Its eyes are just as extreme. While humans see color through 3 photoreceptor types, the mantis shrimp sees through 12 to 16, detecting light humans cannot even imagine, including ultraviolet and polarized light. Engineers have studied its club structure to design tougher body armor and impact-resistant materials, since the shrimp's punch generates forces that should shatter its own limb, yet never does. In the coral reefs, this small, dazzling shrimp behaves less like an animal and more like a loaded weapon with eyes. Axolotl. The axolotl looks like it was drawn by a child imagining a smiling water dragon. With feathery pink gills fanning out from the sides of its head and a permanent upturned mouth, it appears almost cartoonish. Unlike most salamanders, the axolotl never grows up in the traditional sense. It remains in its larval, aquatic form for its entire life, a condition scientists call neoteny. But its strangest feature isn't its looks, it's what happens when it gets hurt. An axolotl can regrow an entire lost limb, complete with bone, muscle, and nerves, without scarring. It can also regenerate parts of its spinal cord, its heart, and even sections of its brain. This is not a party trick. The axolotl has become central to our understanding of how our own organs develop and function, its unique physiology holding the answers to many of our most pressing biological questions. Researchers now hope to crack the code of its regenerating superpowers, believing it could one day help treat human spinal injuries, organ damage, or even limb loss. Native only to a shrinking lake system in Mexico, this small smiling creature may be quietly carrying the future of human medicine inside its cells. Pistol shrimp. Beneath the waves lives a creature that fights with sound louder than a gunshot. The pistol shrimp is small, usually just a couple of inches long, with one oversized claw that looks slightly comical, almost too big for its body. But that claw is a precision weapon. When the shrimp snaps it shut, it does so with such speed that it creates a cavitation bubble, a pocket of collapsing water that generates heat briefly hotter than the surface of the sun and produces a shockwave loud enough to stun or kill small fish. The snap itself can reach volumes over 200 decibels, louder than a gunshot at close range, making the pistol shrimp one of the loudest animals in the ocean relative to its size. Scientists have studied this cavitation effect to better understand underwater acoustics and even sonar interference, since massive colonies of these shrimp create so much underwater noise that submarines have reportedly used it as cover. A creature smaller than your thumb, capable of producing a shockwave hot enough to flash boil water, hidden quietly under a rock on the reef floor. Leafy sea dragon. Drifting through kelp forests off the coast of Australia is a creature that looks like it grew directly out of the seaweed itself. The leafy sea dragon, a close relative of the seahorse, is covered head to tail in delicate leaf-shaped appendages that serve no purpose other than camouflage, swaying gently with the current to mimic drifting kelp. It has no natural weapons, no speed, and no real defense besides simply not being seen. But its most fascinating trait lies in reproduction. Unlike almost every other animal, it is the male leafy sea dragon that carries the fertilized eggs, holding them safely on the underside of his tail until they hatch. This reversal of parental roles has made the species a key subject in studies of reproductive biology and hormonal regulation across species. Conservationists also use the leafy sea dragon as an indicator species, since its fragile, slow-moving nature makes it one of the first animals to disappear when an ecosystem becomes unhealthy. In the swaying kelp beds, this living ornament drifts quietly, more disguised than animal. Vampire squid. Despite the dramatic name, the vampire squid is neither a vampire nor even a true squid. It lives in the deep ocean's oxygen minimum zone, a dark, low oxygen layer where almost nothing else can survive. Its body is a deep red or black, webbed with skin between its arms like a cape, which is likely how it earned its unsettling name. But instead of hunting like a typical predator, the vampire squid does something far stranger when threatened. Rather than releasing ink like other cephalopods, it releases a cloud of sticky glowing mucus filled with bioluminescent particles, disorienting predators long enough to escape into the darkness. Its enormous eyes, proportionally the largest in the animal kingdom relative to body size, allow it to detect the faintest traces of light in near total darkness. Because it survives in such extreme low oxygen conditions, scientists studying the vampire squid have gained insight into how organisms adapt to low oxygen environments, research with implications for understanding human tissue under oxygen deprivation, such as during stroke or heart attack. In the crushing dark of the deep sea, this ancient, glowing creature has been quietly surviving conditions that would kill almost anything else. Yeti crab. Near scalding hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor in complete darkness and crushing pressure lives a crab that appears to be wearing fur. The Yeti crab is pale white, almost ghostly, with long claws covered in hair-like bristles that gave it its nickname. But this isn't fur for warmth, it's a farm. The Yeti crab cultivates colonies of bacteria on its bristly claws, waving them rhythmically over the mineral-rich water pouring from the vents to feed the bacteria, then harvesting and eating them as its primary food source. This remarkable survival strategy, essentially farming its own food in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, has made the Yeti crab a major subject of interest for scientists studying extremophiles, organisms that survive in conditions once thought impossible for life. Understanding how these creatures survive near boiling vent water in total darkness has even influenced the search for life on other planets, since similar hydrothermal environments may exist beneath the icy surfaces of moons like Europa. A crab, farming bacteria in total darkness, may be one of our best clues to finding life beyond Earth. Blobfish. Famous online for looking like a sad, melting face, the blobfish has become something of an internet joke, but the real story is far more interesting than the meme. In its natural deep-sea habitat, under crushing pressure hundreds of meters below the surface, the blobfish actually looks like a fairly ordinary fish. Its gelatinous, low-density flesh is only slightly less dense than water, allowing it to float just above the seafloor without expending much energy swimming. It's only when the blobfish is pulled to the surface, where the pressure drops dramatically, that its body collapses into the droopy, saggy shape that made it famous. This unique adaptation to deep-sea pressure has made the blobfish an important example in studies of pressure tolerance and buoyancy control, helping scientists understand how deep-sea organisms remain stable in environments where the pressure alone would crush most creatures. The world's ugliest animal isn't ugly at all in its own world, it's simply a creature perfectly built for a place humans were never meant to visit. Sea pig. Scattered across the deep ocean floor, sometimes in herds of thousands, are strange, pale creatures that look almost nothing like typical sea life. The sea pig is a type of sea cucumber, translucent and plump, that walks across the muddy ocean floor using several pairs of tube-like legs, giving it a slow, almost comical waddle. Despite its odd appearance, the sea pig plays an essential ecological role, consuming the constant rain of organic material called marine snow that falls from the upper ocean, effectively recycling nutrients on the seafloor. Sea pigs are known to gather in massive numbers around whale falls, the carcasses of dead whales that sink to the ocean floor, feeding on the nutrients released as the whale decomposes over years. Because they thrive in such extreme depths and pressures, sea pigs have become useful subjects for researchers studying deep-sea ecosystems and nutrient cycling, helping scientists understand how carbon and organic material move through the ocean, a process directly tied to how the ocean helps regulate the planet's climate. Giant Pacific octopus. Few animals in the ocean are as intelligent, or as strange, as the giant Pacific octopus. It's the largest octopus species on Earth, with some individuals reaching arm spans of over 20 feet. Its skin can shift color and texture in an instant, allowing it to vanish against rock, coral, or sand almost perfectly. But its biology is even stranger than its camouflage. The giant Pacific octopus has 3 hearts, 2 pumping blood to its gills and 1 to the rest of its body, and its blood is blue rather than red because it uses a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin instead of iron-based hemoglobin to carry oxygen. Even more remarkable, it can taste through its skin, with thousands of chemoreceptors lining its suckers that allow it to identify food simply by touching it. Its intelligence rivals that of many mammals, capable of solving puzzles, opening jars, and even recognizing individual human faces. Neuroscientists study the octopus's decentralized nervous system, where most of its neurons are located in its arms rather than its brain, to better understand alternative models of intelligence and problem solving, research that has influenced fields like robotics and artificial intelligence. Frilled shark. Deep in the ocean swims a creature so ancient in appearance that early sailors who spotted one likely believed they'd seen a sea serpent. The frilled shark has a long, eel-like body, and its gills form frilly folds along its throat, giving the species its name. Its mouth holds around 300 needle-like teeth, arranged in up to 25 rows, designed to trap slippery prey like squid rather than slice through flesh. Fossil evidence suggests the frilled shark has remained almost unchanged for tens of millions of years, earning it the nickname living fossil. Because it represents such an early branch of shark evolution, scientists study the frilled shark to better understand the evolutionary history of sharks as a whole, using its ancient anatomy as a kind of living window into the past. Rarely seen alive, mostly encountered by fishing trawlers pulling from deep water, the frilled shark remains one of the ocean's most mysterious relics, a predator that has barely changed since long before dinosaurs existed.